So I'm having a chat with Davey Johnstone. How are you?
Pretty good, mate. Pretty good over in California. Enjoying some lovely weather here, even though it's February. And, just getting braced up for the next leg of this farewell tour.
Yeah, how's it been?
Amazing. After almost a 2-year break with COVID and everything, we fell back into things really quickly, and Elton's playing his ass off as usual and singing great, and the band is really in the zone now. So yeah, it's all good. Back on track.
Good. And there's still a whole load of dates still to come. I mean, you'll still be going into next year, towards the end of next year on this tour. How's it feeling that you're going to be doing this for the next 2 years?
Well, after 50 years, it really doesn't seem like that much. So quite honestly, I'm fine with it because it's something that I love doing. I've always really loved it. I mean, the great thing about my career with Elton has been that it's always been really creative. It's always been really fun, and there's not anything mundane about it. You know what I mean? It's like each show we play is higher than the show before. That's the way we've always worked. We never kind of got into this kind of phase where you just kind of go through the motions. We've never done that, and I don't think it would have lasted if we'd ever done that, had that approach to it, because Elton's a very spontaneous performer and musician, as I am, and I think that's why we've had this long creative association and long friendship, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get on to more of that a little bit later on and the other collaborations you've done over the years, but I want to talk about some solo stuff that you've been doing. You've released a new album.
Yes, I have. I'd love to talk about that. It came out exactly 2 weeks ago today, I think, and it's great. I'm getting some lovely reaction from people, from music people, from friends and fans, and people who are really happy to see that I've done another solo record after, 48 years or something. Somebody told me the break was. So yeah, it's been just a wonderful experience and something great, to do during the whole COVID thing, when suddenly I found I was free to play my own music and not be, focusing so much on the Elton thing, and in fact, not at all on anything. So it was great. I was able to write my own music and bring my own lyricist partner, Rick Otto, who's a California native as well, and then bring my kids into the project, which is something that I happened kind of by accident because we're all at home and doing our isolating and all the rest of it. And my kids are really talented. So the fact that Elliot, the youngest, living at home still, obviously, and Charlie, 22 at the time when we started doing this, he was at home isolating from the COVID thing. So we just started. I would ask them, as I was writing things, do you feel like giving a recording something? Should we put something down? And it was always, yeah, let's do something. So it just started happening very naturally and very organically, and I'm just thrilled with the way that everything came out. It just progressed in that fashion. We didn't use any commercial studios all the way through the project. It was all done here at my house and also at a friend of mine's home studio. A good buddy of mine, Marlon Hoffman, has a great little home studio, and his engineer, Major Wynn, believe it or not, that's his real name. Major became our number one engineer on the project. So it's very much a homespun kind of deal, and it's come out exactly the way I wanted, so I'm thrilled about that.
Yeah, I bet you are, and it's a great record, and we've been playing some tracks off it, and the latest one that we've been given a spin is one that you've got a new video for as well, is Go Easy on My Heart. What can you tell us about that track specifically?
Well, I really, again, because I was just focusing on what I love musically, and I think you can tell by that track that I'm a huge Beatles fan, always have been, and it made me think when I was writing the music for it, it made me just think, oh my God, it's got that lovely kind of beatly, easy-going feel without trying to be something it's not, and it just happened very naturally. And I tend to, when I'm recording, I tend to work very quickly again. So, it was a case of, okay, I know exactly what I want this to do. And I laid down the acoustic guitars first and then a couple of electric guitars and then did the bass part on it and had my friend Denny Sywell come on over and play drums on it. And Denny, as you may know, is ex-drummer for Paul McCartney and Wings. In fact, the original drummer for that band. And Denny played wonderfully on many tracks on this album. So, when I got Elliot to sing lead on Go Easy on My Heart, again, he's like me. He's very quick. And as soon as I showed him the song once down and the lyric that went with it and the top line of the vocal harmony, he was totally into it and did it very quickly. And that was it. We were done. It was like, it sounded amazing. And I'm thinking, well, I don't think it needs much more. And I think I put a couple of vocal harmonies on it myself, and then I added a slide guitar on top, and it was done. So as I say, I work very quickly, but it's very reflective of this idea that I have with this record, which is reflected in the album title, Deeper Than My Roots, which is actually exactly what it's about. It's about me growing up with a certain kind of music and hearing things when I was a kid, and the way I learned to play guitar and the stuff that I kept for my own thing and that I interjected into Elton's songwriting and the work that we did together over the years. So it's really just another aspect of what I do musically, and hopefully done very honestly and organically.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously working with Elton for so many years and starting that in the 70s, you were releasing stuff with Elton. How much of an input do you have on his music, his tracks, and how the songs kind of evolve into what they are?
Well, I think you can probably just tell that by listening to especially the classic tracks that we did back in the 70s, as you're talking about. Because at that time, it was very, very simply Elton, Dee Murray, his touring bass player, Nigel Olsson, his touring drummer, and myself. There was the four of us, and that was what he wanted to be his band. So as we started writing together and playing together, we all put our parts into it without anybody telling each other what to play. So my input was massive. I was the guitar player. If you listen to tracks like, Saturday Night's the Right for Fighting or The Bitch Is Back or Philadelphia Freedom, they're very much very guitar songs. So in those areas, you can tell my input straight away, I would think. But because it was a band, that was the way that we recorded these songs. We didn't spend months over getting them the way we wanted to do it. We spent hours. We literally we'd put the song together in the studio, record it, bang, done. I would do some guitar overdubs and maybe some mandolin stuff and sitar and different overdubs. Elton might put an electric piano on it, but that was it. We had our own overdubs all included in our band. So occasionally we would ask other people to come and play on a track just if we had a specific idea. But the Elton John band is that was the thing. That was what brought out and what contributed to those amazing records in those days. And of course, the wonderful producer Gus Dudgeon, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but Gus's input in those recordings as record producer was phenomenal, was incredible.
Yeah, for sure. And Elton John's not the only artist you've collaborated with. I'm looking on Wikipedia here, so whether the facts are right, I don't know. But there's a whole load of artists that you've worked with and recorded for. What's it like, kind of being invited on to work with other artists on their records and their music? That's always been something I've really enjoyed, Jim, because that's really why I got invited to play on Elton stuff in the first place. When he was doing Madman Across the Water, Gus Dudgeon called me up and said, I'm working with this guy called Reg, and he's a singer-songwriter. He's just starting to get some attention in America. Would you like to play on one of your tracks? Because I think he would love it.
So that's where it started. I've always been asked by producers or artists to play on their music because they want me. They don't want somebody to play a specific number of notes that they've worked out in advance. They hire me to bring my own expertise and my own ideas to their music. So that's what's always been really enjoyable and enriching for me as far as what I do. And, for example, if I get called to play on something, like, for example, Richard Perry would call me up and say, look, I'm working with the Pointer Sisters, and I've got this song that Bruce Springsteen's wrote, and we're thinking of recording it as a single. Will you play on it? And it was like, yeah, I'd love to, of course. And so I'd go into the studio and come up with the guitar part, and bang, it'd be okay. This is exactly what it should be, and that was a huge record. Fire was a massive record from the Pointers days when they were really happening back in the. Probably around about, the late 70s when they were happening. Because, you see, when I moved to L.A., I wanted to continue my work with other people, not just working with Elton, because that's always really inspired me. When I get the possibility to work with another artist, it'll just give me another side to keep my work sharp, because the work that I do usually enhances what somebody else has done. And that's the reason I think that they hire me, because they're pretty much sure if they're going to bring me into the studio to contribute to their song, that they're going to get something pretty cool and different that they wouldn't expect normally maybe. So I've really enjoyed working with other people over the years. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking to the future now, I know you've got Elton's very nice long tour going on for the next couple of years, but are you hoping to do some solo gigs and some solo shows?
I definitely wouldn't count that out. I mean, the wonderful thing is, I've been blessed. I'm touching a big piece of wood next to where we're talking right here. I've been blessed that I'm still in good shape. Even though I'm 70 years old, I can still get up there and rock out for 2.5 hours, which our set is, which is a long set. So, yeah, I would think that I'll probably do something when this thing with Elton is done, because at the moment it looks like because of COVID and the cancelled and postponed dates that we're going to be doing this tour until probably July of 2023, which is a long time, as you mentioned. It's still another 1.5 years almost, so it's a long time. But yeah, when I get done with this project, there are various other things that I'm going to do. I'm writing a book. I'm involved in doing a documentary, the story of our band, the music side of things. Nothing involved about personal lives and all the rest of it. It's not about that. It's purely about the music that we created as friends and bandmates, especially in the 70s and 80s. So stuff like that. But for the moment, I'm just going to enjoy doing what I do. I mean, the wonderful thing about having done this solo record and feeling the reaction I'm getting from people is that I know that what I'm contributing nowadays to the music business, or whatever you want to call it, is valid. It's like I'm still I still have things to say that I think that people would like to hear, and I think that's an important thing, because songwriting can be a dodgy thing. It can be a very chancy thing, depending on what it is you're trying to say. I mean, I'm certainly not one of those preacher type, or protest song type of guys, but I do try and interject some things that are meaningful in my music, because I'm kind of tired with all the posturing and all the loud people shouting and about this and that, and this is what should happen in life. I want to say, listen, piss off and get back to the basic things of life. Let's try and get on with each other for a change. Let's try and actually share something that actually is a bit nicer, and just a bit kindness to each other, that kind of thing, because I think that's important in life, and I think that's getting overlooked a little bit these days.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And I think the one final question that I'm going to have to ask you is obviously about Elton John, and obviously with this being the farewell tour, do you think that he might do more after this tour, or do you think this is it for Elton and his shows?
I've been asked this so many times recently, and the only thing I can say is that as far as I'm aware, this is his farewell to touring, meaning this is really the last, the farewell Yellow Brick Road tour is that's it. But no more touring for him. Whatever else he might do as a musician, and as a dear friend of mine for over 50 years, I know that he's never going to stop playing. The guy, it's in his soul. That's what he does. He's never going to stop playing. He won't stop writing songs and music. I know that for a fact. There are many other aspects where he'll continue being Elton, the wonderful creative force that he is. But as far as touring, I would say that's going to be it. When we get to July of next year, I would pretty much say that's going to be it. He's going to knock it on the head for a while.
Good. Thanks. Well, Davey, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you.
Thanks, Jim. Great talking to you too, man. All the best to you.